Well, here I am in my shop now. I'm gonna try to make this comfortable for me. So you have to excuse me a second. I'm gonna kind of sit back and relax a little bit if I can. Put this down. Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, I'm comfortable now. Uh, Let me see if I can figure out where I left off. And let me let me try not to make too much noise. I'll bring us in one more time. I got me a good old recliner up here at the shop. And all right, I think if I remember right, I left off about the time that FedEx had bought out RPS, and uh, they at that point they let us uh, move on and go up to 5 trucks. And of course, being how I was, I wanted to do that also. So I moved up to 5 trucks. And after owning 5 trucks, I got 5 bid runs. I had to run some extra, what they call extra board, for a while before I was able to actually get some bid runs. So I had 3 bid runs, if I remember right, and then I had a couple that I was running on the extra board, and never really liked that. The extra board is what it says, extra board. You had a driver, and usually I tried to. At that point, I was putting myself on the extra board, and you had to come in when they needed you, and whatever shift they needed you. I ran the nighttime extra board for several years, and I would run whatever. And then I had another driver that did the same way too. Uh, Usually, my best substitute driver or best fill-in guy was my brother Perry, who's been with me since the early '90s. I think he came to work for me in '92 or '93, and he um, uh, he worked with me diligently with me and helped me grow the business and did whatever I needed. He knew that it was a good thing for us too. Uh, he very loyal brother. I was glad to be able to have him work with me, and he still works with me till this day. Uh, he's been a very good asset to the company. But anyway, getting back to the others, we got up to 5 trucks, working our tail off, working our 3 bid runs, our 2 extra board runs, and when opportunities came at that point, then you'd try to, they work based it on seniority and a lot of different things, and then you could have an opportunity to bid on it. Well, they've been through a couple different bid processes over the years, and after it kind of after the merger of FedEx and RPS and all that, things kind of got out of kilter with who had what runs and all kind of different things. So I remember them rebidding and restructuring everything, and I want to say close to 2,000, something like that. And they kind of restructured everything and they just rebidded everything. And it was based on your seniority, and your seniority was based on the time you put the truck on and all kind of things like that. So again, I was able to get even better runs. I got off a couple runs I was on and got some better runs. I got some Atlantas and some Savannahs and all that sort of stuff. So every opportunity that came along to better myself, I tried to do that. And when when I was doing that, I was always feeling like that I needed to enhance myself and get better equipment and be able to work on the equipment better, which I did. And at that time, I didn't have a shop, so I had to kind of rely on getting newer equipment and relying on uh, the manufacturers to do it. I was buying a lot of Mack trucks in. I would depend on Mack truck of getting my trucks out, and that's tough when you rely on somebody else's shop to get your equipment fixed. It gets it gets really hairy. I don't like doing that. Even to this day, I don't like doing that. I still take trucks to the manufacturer, get them worked on occasionally, but not very often. Uh, that being said, I've got a couple of them taken for warranty work right now, but they're actually not trucks that I have on in line. But you know, the we progressed on with 5 trucks. Uh, During that time, I have had a good friend that was working for me on the side as a mechanic. He was working full time for uh, Caterpillar at one time, and then he worked full time. And he had been a mechanic. Let me back up. He was a mechanic at Carolina Freight, been a friend of the family for years. And then after Carolina Freight shut their doors, and well, ABF basically shut their doors in this area, the uh, he moved on and worked at Caterpillar as a mechanic, and then after that he worked at uh, JB Hunt as a mechanic. So you know he was doing that, and he would on the side come work for me if I had something wrong with one of the trucks that I knew Larry could help me with. He would come help me on the side. Well, after after I guess let me progress. Let me get on. Let me step it up a little bit. About the mid '90s, I don't know exactly when. I'd have to research it and see. FedEx started letting us, um, or it might have been in 2000s. It might have been right after 2000. I think it was. They uh, they let us start buying each other out, and I saw that as an opportunity to really grow my fleet. And when I did that, when I, you know, some of the guys were already tired. They wanted to get out. They wanted to do something different. So I took it upon myself to say, well, I'm interested in buying some more, increasing my fleet. So I, I got a hold of some guys that were wanting to retire and get out, and or just wanted to get out. And I started buying them out. I bought my first one had the first gentleman had three, I think it was 3 trucks, and I bought his 3 trucks and his 3 runs. Of course, got his drivers, and then um, I so that took me up to about 8 trucks. That time with 8 trucks, it was getting a little bit hairy to work on all my equipment by myself or take it to shops and everything else. So I convinced Larry to quit working at JB Hunt and come work for me full time. I gave him a good salary, and Larry came to work for me full time. But uh, we still didn't have our own shop at that point. He would basically have to go work on it at FedEx, or we would take it sometimes over to his house or down here to my house. We'd have a makeshift shed or whatever. And then I convinced Barbara that we needed to get our own shop. So we did. A few years later, we built our own shop. Let me see how many years has that been. Oh, let's see, my son has been married 14 years. That was about a year, so about 15 years ago. I'll put it in perspective there. About 15 years ago, I built my first shop, and it was a nice shop. And we still use it to this day. Uh, it was, I mean, or is, uh, 80 by 100, I believe, or yeah, something like that, or 70 by 100, um, I think. Maybe not. I'd say it's a little bit bigger. Maybe it's 60 by 100 or 60 by 80, somewhere in that neighborhood. I can't. I don't have the figures in front of me. Anyway, a two bay. I kept it down to a two bay garage. It's a two bay garage, and at that time I thought I needed an office up there, so I zoned off part of it for an office, which I wish I hadn't. But at the time, I thought that was the wisest thing. But that being said, it is what it is. But we we have continued on buying out contractors. I mean, like I said, that first initial three, and then a few years later, I bought out another contractor that had four trucks. Then I bought out another contractor that had one. I had bought out another one that had one. I bought out another contractor that had five, and uh, then I was able to also, and during that time, just add some more extra trucks. So right now, uh, well, right now, I think we stand at about. Uh, I got 20. Let's see, 24 bid runs uh, that are scheduled bid runs, and I have about 36, 36, 38 trucks, maybe 40 trucks that are leased owned to FedEx. In other words, they'll let you put spare trucks on. So I put several spare trucks on because anybody in the trucking business know if you have 24 that's dedicated, you better have enough backup trucks to keep them rolling. And that's where, that's what we've done. And through those years, like I said, buying out all these different contractors, I've bought out, like I said, my fair share. And we've got our business up to a fairly large business. Now, as you see, I'm in a shop. This is my newest shop. It's the quietest shop because the guys are actually still down in the old Betsy down there. They're in the older shop. And I'm sitting here just kind of relaxing amongst whatever, amongst toolboxes and, oh man, let me just kind of set up here. You can see, yeah, I got a little bit of everything. Plus, there's, there's our latest wrecked truck. I've got one wrecked over there. And we're, but this shop is, I built this shop about a little over 2 years ago, I think, and it is 60 by 160. Now, my father-in-law actually used to own this property, and he sold it to another gentleman, and it was a manufacturing. There was a mill in here, and 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 unfortunately, when this other guy owned it, it caught on fire, and it burned to the ground. The old mill did, and it always kind of stuck in my craw that I hate that got out of the family. So when the opportunity came, I was able to buy uh, this 13 acres of land that had nothing but the slab left, and then the slab was messed up at that point too. So I basically bought this. It's got a dock out there, which is still good, and I was able to retain some of that and some of the integrity of the foundation. But I had to build a pretty good sized building right here. But I enjoy it. Uh, it's um, it's nice to own these two buildings. Nice to be able to have some equipment in here that I can work on and work with. Um, um, I'm trying to continue on with the business. I'm at the point in my life that uh, I like the business for what it is, and it it's it's done me well uh, with the amount of trucks that we have now and the seniority that I have with FedEx. Uh, and in the past couple of years, I hadn't even told you about that yet, but I'm also a contractor with Amazon. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good business for us, and I I'm enjoying it. Uh, like I said in one of the earlier videos, I'll be 67 this year, and the past 30 some odd 32 years I have with FedEx has been pretty good. Um, can't complain. Cannot complain at all. Uh, it's been a good life's experience. So that's in the quick synopsis of what's transpired in my life as far as this. Like I said, initially started as a kid in 1967 with Carolina Freight. Moved on to work for one other trucking firm for a while, running line haul, and then got the opportunity to be with RPS and FedEx for the past. This is my 32nd year in that. And right now, like I said, I can go on in other videos about it, but FedEx has branched out. They split the Charlotte hub up and opened up a second hub back up in Greensboro. They got a huge hub up there. I moved some of my trucks up there to be able to get good runs. Kind of wish I hadn't, but that's neither one way or the other. It's done. So we have 5 trucks up there, and or is it 6? 5 or 6 based up there, and then we were able to go with an expansion they had in Savannah, Georgia, and right now we have 4 trucks running out of Savannah, Georgia, 3 bid, one sort of on the extra board, and we're doing pretty good with that, so I can't complain. And as long as we can maintain everything, as long as I can keep good help, I have a lot of drivers. Uh, my drivers are pretty good people. They're making good money working for me, what I consider good money, uh, anywhere from 50 to 75,000 a year. So I think that's good money. And they got a regular job. They got a regular shift. They're off 2 days. It's not Saturday and Sunday. It's Sunday and Monday basically. Uh, we work Tuesday through Saturday on most of my routes. The nighttime routes you can kind of figure them as Monday through Friday, but um, it's a good job. It's a good job, and I like it. And hopefully, I'll be able to do this for several more years. I'm cutting back on my driving time. Like I said, I'm still a substitute, but I try my best not to be a substitute or involved with that. I like managing it, and that's about it. So I'm gonna get off again. I've been blabbering another 18 minutes or so, and I hope I can entertain somewhat. Like I said, I've had some people ask me to do this, so I've done it. Uh, I put 3 parts to this, so I've wasted about an hour of everybody's time if you look at all 3 videos together, I guess. Uh, there's more to it than just this part. It's hard to condense 50 years into 45 minutes of talking about it, but it's been pretty good. And maybe I'll get back on, tell some more experiences that I've had within the trucking business. I've I've done a lot with it. Uh, like I said, it's been very good for me, and I've got some experiences that I could probably pass on to people. I mean, experiences of managing the money, managing the trucks, managing the drivers, and this is what we're in. I'm in the trucking business, but I'm probably primarily in the people business because if you don't keep good people, you won't be able to keep a good business. I mean, it requires good people to help you. I mean, you can't do it all by yourself. Uh, I hear a lot of people say, "Well, I'll go out and I'll uh, drive drive the truck myself, and I'll make as much money as I can, and that's it." Well, you can only drive one truck. You can only work so many hours. You can only do that and enjoy it so much, and the rest of it, you're going to ruin your life in a way if you do all of that by yourself. So my suggestion in the trucking business is to get good people to work for you. Now that's a hard task. That's a very hard task, but it can be done. But it's a people business more than it is just a trucking business because you can buy all kinds of different equipment. You can buy great new equipment if you can afford it, which most people can't. Or you can, buy some good equipment, work on it, repair it. Then you had to have uh, you have to have your help being able to maintain these trucks. And even if you buy new trucks, you're going to need help. So I'll touch on that later. But I think I'll sign off. Like I said, it looks like I've had 20 minutes of blabbing again. I hope I'm not boring anybody too much. You can go back and watch the other two videos, and you kind of get my synopsis of how I've come up through the trucking business for the past 50 years. Since this, I guess, will be about my 51st year. Not continuously. There was a break in there for a few other things, but started in 1967 and got out of it about 1980, jumped back in it in the mid 80s. So I was only out of it 4 or 5 years continuously, I guess you'd say, enough to taste other kind of professions and figured out that, I was kind of cut out for trucking. Raised in the trucking business. My dad did it for 38 years. Uh, my brothers have been in the trucking business alongside me in different capacities. So it's sort of a natural progression, I guess you might say, that I was to get into the trucking business. But I hope I can entertain you a little bit or inform you a little bit of what I've done, and you know, uh, give me your comments. Tell me what you think about what I'm saying. Uh, if I can help anybody, I'll be glad to converse, type, text, whatever I can do to give somebody some ideas or give them my ideas, and I'll tell them how I ran my business. Either you like it or you don't like it. Not going to try to tell everybody how to do it. Everybody should do it the way they want to do it. I know what's been successful for me, but that's not the only path to being a successful trucker, I don't think. Now, some people like to do it differently, and I've seen different models. This one just works for me and makes me feel good. That's that would be the big thing. You need to have a business that you feel good at doing and how you do it. So that's sort of where I'm at there. Now, it I notice a few people are online. I don't know which ones, but uh, I'm only just running off of an iPhone here. I'm not trying to get too fancy. So uh, I hope my rants and raves have not been too boring. I'm going to sign off at this time. I'll get back on and explain some other, maybe more detailed issues about the trucking business and how it's how it's evolved for me. But for right now, I'm getting a little hoarse anyway because I've been talking about an hour or so today. So I'm going to sign off. Nice having a couple of people online with me, and hopefully some more people will view it and give me your comments down below, up below. I don't know where it's at. Just give me a comment, and I'll look at it when I can, and hopefully